Thank you, Senator Curtis. Senator Rosen.
Senator Curtis, well, thank you, Mr. Chair, Ranking Member, for holding this hearing. And Senator Curtis, I really want to thank you for your comments and your concerns and always for your kindness. It is much appreciated because I, too, today want to speak plainly about the deeply troubling nomination of Mr. Jeremy Carl. It's not a close call. The nomination should alarm every senator who believes in basic decency, truth, and responsibility that does come with public service, sir. Mr. Carl is infamous for deleting thousands of his past tweets, but deleting tweets doesn't delete the many recorded podcast interviews, public speeches, or editorials that he's done. As many of my colleagues have and will point out, Mr. Carl's vile anti-Semitic comments are very real, whether he tried to erase them or excuse them. As co-founder and co-chair of the Senate's bipartisan task force for combating anti-Semitism, the only former synagogue president to serve in the United States Senate, and as a Jewish woman and mother, I'm especially compelled to call out Mr. Carl's record. So I'm just going to put it in context. In a study released this week by the American Jewish Committee, 1 in 3 Jewish Americans state that they have personally experienced anti-Semitism at least once in the last year. And last year, another study that found nearly 1 in 5 Jewish Americans were assaulted, physically threatened, or harassed right here in the United States. Our own citizens, all of our constituents, everyone. Nobody feels safe in their home communities. And I know this is something that senators on both sides of the aisle really care about. I do know that. And yet Mr. Carl, despite his long record of problematic statements, has been nominated to lead our country's engagement with every single country in the world through our diplomatic work with international organizations. Some may try to excuse Mr. Carl's remarks, claiming his words were taken out of context, that he never said them, and that his own heritage protects him from criticism. So let me be clear. Identity does not excuse anti-Semitism. Identity does not excuse racism. Identity does not excuse hateful rhetoric. Regardless of who says them, words matter, as my colleagues have said. Words matter. Character matters. Judgment matters. And to my colleagues that may consider voting in favor of Mr. Carl's nomination, understand what the vote signals. It tells Americans you're willing to use your sacred vote, not just to ignore, but to endorse the hateful statements. It tells Jewish Americans they simply don't matter. And I ask everyone in this room, depending what your age is, many of us here have had relatives, parents, who fought in World War II. We know those stories. Thank you for your service. I see a Vietnam veteran in the audience. But imagine them young, or maybe not so young, sitting here today in their uniform. Hard to imagine maybe our parents young, but imagine them young or coming back, sitting here today, looking at us, knowing what they fought for. They're watching us, whether they're there or here. So, Mr. Carl, I'd be hard-pressed to find any person in this room, not any of my colleagues, who would agree with many of your statements. I'm going to quote some of them. The Jews love to see themselves as oppressed. Another one, Jews have often loved to play the victim, rather accept that they are participants in history. Here's another one. Hitler is always the convenient kind of bad example. Hitler is always a convenient kind of bad example. Anyone who had family members who served in World War II, I wish they were here to argue with you on that one. I'm very critical, another thing you said, of overall political stance and sociology of the Jewish community, particularly in this century. It's been very destructive overall. Another quote, you guys, referring to the Jews, are spearheading a lot of bad causes. Okay. Another quote, we need to unashamedly criticize and critique them, referring to the Jews when they're enemies, without being worried about being called anti-Semites. And finally, in discussing the Holocaust, where 6 million Jews, almost half the Jewish population alive at the time, were slaughtered, an event that continues to be denied to this day, you say the Holocaust kind of dominates just so much of modern Jewish thinking, even today. Everyone has traumas in their past. How much are we going to kind of relitigate them? Say that to the memories of the folks who fought in World War II. Fought and died. So speaking to my colleagues, A vote in favor of Mr. Carl is a full-throated endorsement of any and all of these statements. I know everyone cares about the rise of anti-Semitism here and around the United States and around the world. And if you have empathy for the Jewish community, communities experiencing hate, simply tired of advancing nominees who I doubt will be respected on the world stage, you must vote against Mr. Carl's nomination. And I just remember from my father who fought in the war and so many of my family members, I know he's watching. I know other parents are watching. I know our children are watching. I know the world is watching. And so, where will we stand? Where will we stand? What did they fight for? It matters. My time is up. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.